Nobody told you that hiring your first team member will be the hardest leadership test of your business. Come closer. Let me explain. You see, here's what that moment actually looks like. A business owner lands her biggest client yet. She cannot handle the volume alone, so she makes her first hire. She's so excited. She's ready. She onboards this person. She points them in a direction and waits for things to just get easier. But they don't. The new hire keeps coming to her with questions that she thought were obvious. Work comes back in a way that doesn't match what she had in her head. Finds herself redoing things, re explaining things, and wondering if she just made the wrong hire. Well, here's the thing, she didn't hire the wrong person. She just never made the shift from running a business to leading one. And nobody told her that these were two completely different things. That's what we're going to get into today. But first, I want to welcome you to the Quiet Mic. I am Natasha, and this channel is for business owners and leaders who want to lead their teams well without losing themselves in the process. So, welcome. If this is your first time, hello. Thank you for joining, and I want to welcome you. I want to also invite you to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a thing that's coming. There's a lot coming very soon. Today, I want to talk directly to the business owner who has a team, even if it's a small one, and they're quietly wondering why the leadership side of things feels so much harder than the business side ever did. So today, I have three things that nobody tells you about that transition. Here's the truth that most business content completely skips over. Building a business and leading the people inside one are two fundamentally different skill sets. Building a business rewards independence, fast decision making, and trusting your own instincts. But leading people requires patience, right? It requires communication, clarity, and the ability to develop someone else's thinking instead of trusting your own. And most business owners make their first hire and assume that the skills that got them to that point will just carry them through, but they don't. And the gap between those two skill sets is exactly where teams start to struggle and they start to underperform. And that's where business owners start to feel like they're doing everything themselves again, even though they now have help. Here's what nobody told you about why that happened. Number one, that nobody tells you is that hiring somebody doesn't transfer your vision. You have to communicate it deliberately. Okay. Here's what I mean. When you've been running your business alone, your business lives entirely in your head. You know exactly what good looks like. You know the standard. You know the direction. You know why certain decisions get made the way that they do. And because you know all of that, you assume that it's just obvious, but it's not. Not to the person who just walked in the door. Your new team member does not have access to the content that you build over months or even years of running this business by yourself. They are not going to be able to see the vision that you carry in your head because that's where it lives. They can't feel the standard that you hold internally. All they have is what you explicitly, and I want to repeat, explicitly tell them. And most business owners, especially those that are in very early stages, have not yet learned how to make the implicit explicit. But here's what that looks like in practice. A business owner hires a client coordinator. In her mind, this person will handle client communication the way that she would. They want them to be warm, proactive, detailed. And she never says any of that out loud because she just feels that it's obvious. A weekend, she has a client that reaches out of frustration because a response came back that felt a little short, a little curt, and a very impersonal. And the business owner is now confused, but the coordinator is also confused. And ultimately, the client is disappointed. And all this happened not because anyone did anything wrong intentionally, but it happened because the vision for what good looks like for client communication was never transferred. It stayed in the business owner's head. And what I've watched play out in organizations of every size across more than 17 years is this: your team cannot meet a standard that they can't see, and they can't see it until you show them. That leads us to number two of what nobody tells you. Your team needs more direction than they need motivation. Okay. Here's one thing that I see business owners get backwards almost every time in those early stages of building a team. When people are not performing the way that you expected, the instinct is to often think that they maybe need more motivation, more encouragement, more energy, more culture. And then the business owner starts to focus on team building, right? They start to focus on recognition and on making the environment feel good. Now, don't get me wrong, those things do matter, but they're not what's actually missing most of the time. Most of the time. Okay. Now, what's actually missing is direction and specifically clarity on where they're going, what they're supposed to be doing to get there, and what good looks like when they arrive. A motivated team without clear direction is just a group of enthusiastic people moving in different directions. They feel good, but they're not aligned. That's an issue. Because I want you to picture this. A small business owner has a team of three. She invests in team lunch, a fun time off-site, and a Slack channel that's full of encouraging messages. Now, the energy is great, right? Feels good. Everybody likes each other. But 2 months later, the business is not moving the way that she needs it to. Targets are being missed, projects are taking longer than they should. She's really confused because the team seems happy. Happy and clear are not the same thing, friend. Her team liked working there. They just didn't know exactly what they were working towards or how their individual roles connected to the bigger picture. And the motivation was there, but the direction was not. And what I want you to understand about that distinction is this: a motivated team without direction is just energy without a destination. Okay. And that leads us into number three and the last point of what nobody tells you. Leading a small team is actually harder than leading a large one. And nobody prepares you for that. Okay. Now, I want to say something that most leadership content completely ignores. And it's this: leading a small team of two, three, five people is uniquely hard in ways that leading a larger team is not. And nobody prepares you for that because most leadership development was not built for corporate managers that have established systems and HR departments and resources that are behind them. It wasn't built for the business owner who is the HR department. They're the manager and the strategist and the person that's still doing some client work most, if not all of the time, right? And when you lead a small team, every dynamic is amplified. If you have one person that has a bad day, that is going to more than likely affect the whole team's energy. One misaligned hire is going to affect every single project. One unclear expectation is going to create confusion across the entire operation. When you have a small team, there's no buffer. There's no middle layer to absorb things. It goes straight to you and straight to the team at the same time. On top of that, you're still doing a significant amount of the actual work yourself, which means that you're leading and executing at the same time. That's very, very demanding of you as a leader to be in that position. And with that, you have a special set of skills that you need a special set of skills that nobody handed to you. And that's going to be necessary when you make your first hire. That's what makes it uniquely different. And I've watched business owners carry this quietly for months, sometimes years, feeling like something is wrong with them because they can't figure out the people side of their business. I'm here to tell you that nothing is wrong with them. They were just handed a leadership role without a framework for how to do it. And here's what I want you to sit with from that. Okay. You didn't fail at leadership. You were handed leadership without ever being taught it. And I want to speak directly to the business owner who has been quietly carrying the weight of a team that hasn't been performing the way that it needs to. You've probably been telling yourself that you need to hire better, or that you need to be more patient, or that maybe you're just not cut out for the people side of running a business. None of that is true. Okay. What's actually happening is that you made the leap from business owner to business builder to people leader without a map. And that is significant, a significant leap that you took. But it requires something that's completely different, a different way of thinking, a different way of communicating, and a different way of operating. It's not a different personality, not a different identity, just a different set of tools. And the business side of what you built, that came from learning and experimenting and just figuring out as you went along. Now, the leadership side is a little bit different. That work is something that you have to find the right starting point. And I want you to know that what you're experiencing right now is not unique to what happens. It's one of the most common and most underserved challenges in the entire small business space, which is exactly why I do this work. The gap between building a business and leading one is real, but it's closable. So here's what I want you to take away from today. Your first hire did not just add a person to your business. It changed what your role required of you. It asked you to lead. Okay. And leading well is a learnable skill. It's not a personality trait. It's not something you either have or you don't, something that you build deliberately. And I want to say you have to be intentional with it, with the right framework, okay, and the right support. If you've been filling the gap between where your leadership is and where your business needs to be, that recognition is the first step. The next one is doing something about it. Okay. I want you to stay close to this channel because what's coming next is going to be specifically for you. Okay. Now, before we close this out today, I want you to go ahead and drop a comment and tell me what's the hardest part of leading your team right now? Not running the business. I'm talking about leading the people that's inside of it. I do read the comments and I really want to know where you are. Okay. And if this episode gave you something, I want you to share with a business owner in your life who really needed to hear it today. Okay. Also, if you have not already, go ahead and subscribe. I have something that I'm building that is specifically for business owners who are navigating exactly what we talked about today. You don't want to miss it. Okay. As a reminder, I have new episodes for you every Thursday. And I want you to remember the quiet ones move the room. So let your quiet speak loud. I'll see you.